She was young. She was famous. She was streaming live for thousands of fans when her final moments unfolded in real time. A TikTok star, known for her beauty, confidence, and connection with her followers, suddenly silenced, not by accident, not by illness, but by a single act of cold-blooded violence. In this age where anyone can go live to the world, the line between fame and danger is thinner than ever. And sometimes, the camera doesn't just capture life, it captures death. This is the disturbing story of a TikToker assassinated in front of her audience, and why Livestream murders are on the rise. If you're ready to dive into the shadows where the internet meets the unthinkable, hit subscribe to Dark Lore with Shadows, because tonight's story will change how you see your screen.
Before that fatal live stream, she was a rising star. Her videos blended beauty, humor, and a raw honesty that drew people in. In a sea of polished influencers, she felt real. Every night she'd prop her phone on a stand, the glow of a ring light framing her face, and talk to thousands of strangers who felt like friends. They watched her try new trends, share her struggles, and laugh at her own mistakes. It wasn't just entertainment, it was connection. Her following grew fast. More followers meant more recognition, more opportunities, and more people watching her every move. But it also meant something else. People she didn't know were watching. People who weren't there to support her. And as her online presence exploded, the line between her private life and her public persona began to vanish. Anyone could find her. Anyone could watch. And one day, someone dangerous would do just that. We've got more of this story coming, and it only gets darker from here. Subscribe to Dark Lore with Shadows so you don't miss what happens next.
It was supposed to be just another broadcast. The TikToker set up her phone, adjusted her ring light, and hit go live. Thousands of fans joined within minutes, filling the screen with hearts and comments. She laughed, chatted, and answered questions. The mood was light, just another day in her online world. But somewhere among those little profile pictures scrolling by was someone who wasn't there for fun. The camera stayed fixed on her face, but if you looked closely, you could see it. A flicker in her eyes, the moment she noticed something or someone. Her smile faltered just for a second before she forced it back into place. Then came the noise. Muffled at first, barely audible over her voice. She glanced off camera. Her fans noticed. Comments began to pour in. "What was that? Are you okay?" She didn't have time to answer. Target. And here's where everything changes. Stay with us, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to Dark Lore with Shadows, because the next moments are unlike anything you've ever seen on a live stream.
The live stream chat was still scrolling when it happened. A shadow moved into frame, fast, sudden. Her expression shifted from confusion to fear. Before she could react, a figure lunged into view. The camera caught only fragments, a blur of motion, the sound of a struggle, objects crashing to the floor. Viewers could hear her voice, sharp and panicked, cut off by a sickening thud. The phone tipped sideways, giving a tilted glimpse of the chaos, overturned furniture, her hand reaching into frame, and then stillness. Thousands of viewers watched in real time, frozen, unsure if what they were seeing was real or staged. Comments flooded the screen. "Call the police. What's happening? Is this a prank?" But this wasn't a prank. This was a murder unfolding live. And somewhere in that chaos, the killer knew the world was watching. If your heart's racing right now, you're not alone. Subscribe to Dark Lore with Shadows, because we're about to uncover what happened after the camera went dark.
The live stream didn't end. Her phone stayed connected, broadcasting an eerie stillness. The ring light glowed in the background, casting long shadows over the wreckage of the room. Viewers were in shock, some screaming in the chat, others frantically trying to trace her location. A few managed to contact local authorities, sending screenshots and clips from the stream. When police arrived, they found exactly what thousands had just witnessed: the aftermath of a violent struggle. The TikToker lay motionless, the suspect gone. Within hours, the clip began spreading across platforms, shared and reshared by people who couldn't believe what they had seen. It wasn't just a story. It was a warning. A chilling reminder that in the digital age, the barrier between your audience and your real life is paper thin. Around the world, people debated. Should live streams be safer? Could this have been prevented? Or is this the dark cost of being visible to millions? The answers aren't simple, but the truth is darker than you think. Stay tuned to Dark Lore with Shadows, because next we'll face the hunt for the person behind the screen. Detectives wasted no time. They pulled the live stream footage frame by frame, hunting for any clue that could identify the attacker. A reflection in a window, a tattoo, the pattern on a sleeve. Every detail mattered. Digital forensics traced the IP addresses of viewers who had been watching from nearby, cross-referencing the chat logs with known usernames. Witnesses from her personal life were interviewed. Friends, neighbors, and anyone who might have seen someone lurking in the days before. Then came the break. A security camera 2 streets away caught a figure running from the scene minutes after the attack. The footage wasn't crystal clear, but it gave detectives a starting point and a timeline. Leads poured in from viewers who swore they recognized the suspect's movements, voice, or even the shape of their hands from past streams. The investigation turned into a race against time, because if the suspect knew they were being hunted, they might disappear for good. They were getting closer, but what they found about the suspect's connection to the victim would stun everyone. Subscribe to Dark Lore with Shadows so you're here when we reveal it. After days of tracking, the suspect was finally cornered, hiding out in a small apartment just outside the city. Police moved in quietly, surrounding the building before making the arrest. The identity shocked viewers who had followed the case. The suspect wasn't a stranger from the shadows of the internet, but someone the TikToker had known in real life. Investigators uncovered a tangled history, jealousy, rejection, and a growing obsession that had turned into something darker. The suspect had been following her streams for months, leaving comments that seemed harmless at first, until they weren't. When confronted, the suspect admitted to watching her victim's every move online, convinced that her attention belonged to them, and furious when it didn't. That rage built until it boiled over during that final live stream. The motive was chilling in its simplicity. If they couldn't have her attention, no one could. The trial would come later, but the real verdict had already been delivered in the minds of millions who had witnessed the horror unfold. Some dangers don't hide in dark alleys. They sit behind screens, smiling, waiting. If this story shook you, hit that subscribe button and join us here at Dark Lore with Shadows, because there are more shadows out there than you realize. In the end, it wasn't the internet that killed her. It was the human darkness hiding behind it. But the internet gave that darkness a stage, an audience, and a way to cross the line between watching and acting. Her story is a warning. For every like, every follower, every live viewer, there may be someone whose intentions aren't innocent. Someone who's not just watching, but waiting. Live streams can connect us. They can make us feel less alone. But they can also turn into open doors for anyone willing to step through. So the next time you go live, ask yourself, who's on the other side of that screen? If this story made you think twice, subscribe to Dark Lore with Shadows. Share this with someone who loves the strange, the dark, and the unexplained. Because the shadows are always closer than they seem.